And we are back again. It's your friendly neighborhood film watchers. It's Frankly Football in the building. I am your humble host, Brandon. And I got my man Hank Graham with me to set it off, Chris. How you doing today,
What's going
Chris?
on, man? B, it's Friday. It's a Tuesday night, man. We thinking about working and grinding. Been kicking this thing back and forth, man. And now that the draft is over, we got all our shiny new toys. We've heard from Will McClay and all the great, people around it. And the thing I was thinking about before this whole thing started was the importance of development. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get some shout out to some guys, man, that me and you both love. I've always heard Foots the King always say that development does not stop when you get to the pros. It's like most of us expect these guys when they're in college, when they come to the pros, they're finished products. And a lot of times they aren't. They're just being able to learn and redefine their skills. And then they explode to the next level, the guy who they are. So that's a huge thing for them. So I'm looking at now for our year 1 guys going to year 2, and then year 2 to year 3 guys, who's most important for their development and what it would look like for the overall picture of the Cowboys. You made a great statement. You made a real hot take. You are going to be the first one on it about my man Matt Walesko out of North Dakota. Not North Dakota State, just regular old North
Regular North
Dakota.
Dakota, man.
Right. And when you made this hot take, which you did on Will Steele's A to Z Sports talk show early last week on
Shout out to
Thursday of
Steel.
last week. Yeah, man, shout out to the main man, the brother, man, Skywalker Steele. You made this statement about Matt Walesko being the guy to push Terrence Steele to the point off the bridge. So I don't know if you put your Nick Nolte hat on and went into some far backwooded gym like on Blue Chips and Phil Will McClay has now turned into, found the next Neon Dion Boudreaux and that nobody else saw to be that guy. But I want I want you to kind of elaborate a little bit more why you feel Walesko's going to be that guy, and while I feel the progression of Terrence Steele from year 2 to year 3 is so vital for this football team. Talk to me, man.
So I think that it's less about Waletsko specifically being the guy rather than the team not necessarily giving Terrence Steele the keys to that position just yet. They're not ready to give him the stamp of approval to that right tackle spot just yet. So I think that not only Matt Walesko, but Josh Ball, he was a tackle that was drafted in, what was it, the 6th round, I believe, in
Okay.
2021. So I think that both of them would initially be pushing for a backup spot. But if Steele trips on a rock or something like that and shortens the gap, then it's his job to lose, because both of these guys are big, strong, and mean. And that's something that when Steele was drafted, was he taken with this new regime's mentality in mind? We don't know that. We
Mm-hmm.
know that the guys that were taken in 2021 and 2022 were taken with this new mentality. We know that these guys, that toughness, that grit, that guys that eat nails for breakfast. That we know that Josh Ball and Matt Walesko were taken with that sort of mentality in mind. So the coaches may give them a little bit more of a quicker nod than Terrence Steele. So it's
Okay.
definitely his job to lose. Now I know that not just myself, but there is a section of fans that just haven't gotten over Terrence Steele's initial hiccups, even though he's progressed. He's definitely progressed in his 2 years as a for the most part starter. But if he doesn't maintain that gap, then I don't think that he will be guaranteed that role. We see that
So,
Lyle wasn't.
right. Well, see, okay, so I'm going to kind of go in the same vein as this. Let's look at the guy that he replaced and who he is now. Lyle and Terrence were both undrafted guys due to certain situations. that they
Yes.
did. Okay, Lyle had the charge with the woman who got murdered, came in and played, and came out. He was cleared of it. He was sitting there. Cowboys scooped him up. I also look at the fact of the matter that the maturity level of Terrence Steele as well as Lyle Collins. The reason why Lyle Collins still doesn't don the starter's helmet because of his consistent mishaps and fumbles with immaturity. Can he play? Is he talented? Without question. But his immaturity is what got him sent elsewhere. His ability to, not come in time on shape, his ability to you turn around and you got to take a test. You don't do what's right with taking the test. And I think the Cowboys kind of got tired of dealing with the immaturity after all these years. So I think Terrence Steele showed you after having a atrocious rookie year that we could all say we didn't think he even belonged in. Yeah, mortifying. To the point that the guy
downright ugly.
You know what I'm saying? Abominable. We can go with so many different, words to describe his rookie year. So now we look into his second year, and we looked at him even in preseason, like, oh my God, this guy's terrible. Then he goes out and plays against Joey Bosa and sets the world on fire. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So my thing is, I want to say that I think Terrence Steele makes the step from year 2 to year 3, and he's fine. I think he comes back even better than ever because I think he will improve because he has the ability to be in the lab with Duke Merriweather and get better. I think Philbin is the offensive line coach that believes in him. I think his technique out off the campus, not in the facility, makes him even better. And I think he'll be ready for next year. And I think he keeps making that step forward.
Now, that's the one thing that that Steele has over these other guys. He has consecutive off seasons where he's been able to get bigger. But Josh Ball now has his one COVID off season, COVID-free, all season where he don't have any regulations or limitations to get in his way. For what it's worth, Terrence Steele had to do his workouts in virtual his first off season.
True.
That's going to limit some guys. Josh Ball, as much as some guys may have liked him enough to say, you know what, that pectoral, that might be a bit of a longer injury than you may think. Go ahead and sit it down for a while.
Right.
Now this off season, there's nothing getting in his way. So I think that is going to be something that is going to be overlooked by some guys. Terrence may have the experience, but he had restricted off seasons prior to now.
Right. So I think going back to what you said, I think having Josh having that whole year to sit away, get his pectoral right, get the in season peanut butter, as well as being able to practice, and then having a full off season to work in the facility, outside the facility. I think that's why there will be no swing tackle signed by the Dallas Cowboys in offseason. I think your swing tackle is Terrence Steele. I think your left tackle of the future, right? If Terrence Steele does these things in succession, 1, plays outstanding on the right side, right? 2, moves to when Tyron Smith goes out and gives us these 10 games, because he has not given us 17 games, as you said before, in the last 5 years, or 16 games in the last 5 years. He's gone from 16 to 14 to 13. I think he may lose 2 more. So if he gives us 11 games this year and we're trying to get 19 games, Terrence Steele will swing from your right side to be your left tackle, and be your swing tackle. The moment he does that, I think you insert Josh Ball and he's able to play right tackle. Okay. So with that happening, once he goes to the left side, he shows his versatility. Terrence Steele will price himself out of the Dallas Cowboys market, and then you have a whole off season with Matt Waletzko working and do what he does, and then he takes the place of your left tackle when Tyron Smith plays the following year of 2023 and plays 9 games. Waletzko's able to step in and play left tackle. I think that's what's going to happen. So money wise, progression wise, and help for the Cowboys wise, Terrence Steele's improvement is paramount.
Now
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally understand. I think that's a bit of a bold prediction, especially for the future, because as a team who prides themselves on building from the foundation of the house up, I think that in any event, if this team needs to lock down their tackle of the future, whoever that may be, I think that they pay. If that is Terrence Steele, I think that they write the check.
We would hope that, but they drafted Byron Jones in the first round, let him walk.
He's not the foundation. The cornerbacks are not the foundation. The offensive line is.
Okay, I would hope that. I'm only saying I would hope that. I just think what's going to end up happening, that would be beautiful, because then what you could be able to say is, okay, we signed Terrence to a long-term deal in his year 3, year 4, but now that he's signed to this long-term deal, are you pushing Tyron Smith out the door? You're not, because he's a Hall of Fame player. You're not going to push him out. You're going to let him ride out the next 1 to 2 years until his contract is to the point where it's feasible to cut him and let him walk. Okay.
However many years that may be.
I mean, you're looking at 2 years, and within 2 years, that contract is able to be say, okay, hey, Terrence, you're casualty hit at $5 million a year, and we signed this guy to this big time deal, and he's got to play. But I think if Terrence continues to progress on the arc he's on right now, yeah, by the midseason mark, if he's playing well and he's locking down the right side and he's messed around and played 1 or 2 games on the left side, yeah, by the bye week, you want to be sitting around looking at a news flash for a contract extension for Terrence Steele. I think he is the number 1 guy from year 2 to year 3. I want to see make a huge progression. The second guy who I'm looking at, man, go ahead. I'm going to finish, bro.
I think that that's totally dependent on his progression.
Yeah.
The progression of projects. You know, I think we might have the title for this episode: the progression of projects.
Okay.
Signing that extension or agreeing to that extension on the front office's part must be totally dependent on his progression.
Gotcha. The second guy I'm looking at, next guy that I'm looking to make a huge jump or make a more steady increase in his jump is the guy that most people in Cowboy Nation have a disdain for apparently, I don't understand what reason. And that's my center, Tyler Biadasz. I think the guy who follows after a legend is always in trouble. Like if you call Vach's show and Uncle Charlie's on there, you do not want to have to go behind Uncle Charlie. You have to have number straight fire if you come after Uncle Charlie when you call on anybody's show, because Uncle Charlie gonna hit you with some wisdom. He gonna hit you with 15 years of wisdom and knowledge in one drop, and you're sitting like, man, what the heck do I say behind Uncle Charles, man? I mean, because still to this day, if she's wearing combat boots, she's a terrorist. To this day, man.
Hey, man.
So yeah, man. So I think we bash Tyler Biadasz because he came behind Travis Frederick, but we forget so much how badly the center position was being played by Joe Looney that we don't give Tyler Biadasz the credit that he deserves. Tyler Biadasz is a Remington Award winner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go down some of the guys who was a Remington winner. Landon Dickerson was a Remington Award winner, still in the NFL playing well.
Yes.
Garrett Gilbert, I think I want to say
Wilson.
that.
Not Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson's wide receiver.
No, Garrett Gilbert, center out of North Carolina State, was also a Remington Award winner, and he was a first-round draft pick, and he's playing. He'll be playing his 5th year. They didn't pick up his contract extension, but that's neither here nor there. but he's had a productive career. So we're looking at Tyler Biotis to be,
Garrett
oh, he is,
Bradbury.
yeah, Garrett Bradbury, my bad. So my thing with Tyler Biotis is he was the winner, but he had a bad hip and didn't have a full offseason. Last year was his first year of kind of having that offseason. This is his first COVID-free year having an offseason, and I think he'll be better, or his progression must be better. I don't
Yes.
think everybody's ready to put Connor McGovern, Forniak. We try to take the milkman from down the street. We want to put anybody else in center, except of understanding that this guy's going to progress and be a really good center. Is he going to be Travis Frederick?
No,
I
of
don't.
course not.
I don't know. I don't know, and I don't expect that because Travis Frederick had the ability in his career of having an all-world Ron Leary in his prime, a Zach Martin coming into his prime on his left and right side. Now you come back this year, you get a Tyler Smith, young, strong, and hungry, an upgrade over Connor Williams on his left side. Zach Martin still in the middle of his prime, or coming towards the end of his prime, more to the point of being a little bit older, but still a very, very good right guard, Hall of Fame caliber right guard. Put him in the middle with Tyler being in his third full season, second full season of calling, learning the line, and doing different things. I think Tyler Biotis is a huge upgrade in the offensive line. I think if Tyler Biotis makes that next step, then you get to see maybe 2018, 2018 Zeke. And then you get the full potential out of Tony Pollard, which will in turn help you with comp picks as you go into the following year. I think your running game will be light years better than it was last year.
Well, the main thing that's going to help Tyler Biotis is your first round draft pick, Tyler Smith. The guys that are beside him will make his job a little easier. Now, here's my thing about Tyler Biotis. This is going to be a make or break year for him, just like it is the guy that was starting beside him. I definitely think that this is going to be the year where he is able to help the front office decide if they are going to draft a center next year. Because yes, he's very serviceable, but would you always look to upgrade? Absolutely. So I think that we can definitely continue to win with Tyler Biotis. We can go out and we can continue to beat Philadelphia by 30 points. We can continue to, put a 40 burger on Washington and the New York Giants with Tyler Biotis. We can win 10 games with Tyler Biotis. But is there always room to improve? Absolutely. So I think that Tyler Biotis is one of those guys where this is a make or break year. Along with Terrence Steele, this is going to be a make or break year for him because this is his third year now. This may be his, let's see, he was drafted in 2020. So yes, this is his third year. So he has to do his best to validate his starting position, or else the effort will be made for him to be replaced because there was no effort made to bring competition to his role at the moment.
Right. I think they want to work with continuity. I think they really felt like Connor Williams was an issue because they kept trying to figure out if McGovern or Williams was better. Little Connor, who was better. We can't find out neither one of them were the guy. And then so you turn around and you bring in a totally different guy for left guard, and still leave Connor McGovern with as a really a swing guy who's better at right. And we pray to God nothing happens to the left guard and going forward.
Yes.
So I think that's basically where that. And so for the center position with Forniak, he can play center and he can be a backup. And I think the progression, like you said, and like I've said before, is paramount for him to show us he can be that guy. And then the last guy is a guy who's been getting bashed by the nation. beyond measure, and I don't understand why. Um, 2 years ago on draft night, when we were able to get CeeDee Lamb with the 17th pick in the draft, I think everybody can remember where they were at when that happened. I was on the phone with Vach. I was out working. Uh, you know, people fell out and couldn't believe that they got this guy at 17. So then for the last 2 years, we've been saying we've had three number ones, the ability to have three number ones on one team, unlike anybody else, with Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup.
Yes.
So with the boneheaded move by the organization for saying, Amari Cooper doesn't have the fire inside of him, he doesn't do this, that, and the other, we're gonna let him go. Now we're relegated to the point of saying we don't even have most of the nation or some of the nations, we don't even have a number one wide receiver. And I'm trying to figure out why they think CeeDee Lamb isn't a number one and why this year is huge for him for his progression to tick up. Now, let's not make it like he has to go this incredibly far away to tick up. If you look at CeeDee Lamb's stats, he's improved every year. He broke a Cowboy record that stood for almost 50 years in his first season. The rookie receiving reception total was held by one Hall of Famer, Bullet Bob Hayes, the guy who is responsible for the zone coverage defense in the NFL. Before 1965, they just played man-to-man defense. This rascal comes along and he's outrunning everybody, and they say, hey, we need to come up with a bracket technique or something to try to cover this guy. So he's responsible for that. In his rookie season, my friend, he had 46 receptions, right? As a rookie. And you're saying, man, 46 receptions, man, that ain't nothing, man. That should be broken in no time, right? It didn't happen till 2019, right? 2020, when CeeDee Lamb caught how many in his rookie year there, Brandon?
Let me see. He had 74.
74 in his rookie year. So you say, oh man, 74 receptions. Yeah, but he got 74 receptions with the likes of 5 games with Rain Dakota Prescott. And then he had Ben DiNucci throwing in the ball. And then he had the little water pistol, right?
Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton throwing them. So 74 receptions as a rookie is amazing. So then he turns around to his next year in 2020 and he goes for 1,100 yards. And the whole world's talking about, oh my God, he's terrible. He may not be a number one. The only other guy who's performed better than him, and I don't think anybody saw this coming, and if you were redrafting wide receivers in that same draft, I'm pretty sure Justin Jefferson would be the first wide receiver off the board.
Absolutely.
But number 2 would be CeeDee Lamb.
Now, explain this. Explain this, why you think that there is some need for continued progression from CeeDee Lamb, because most people would think that he has already reached that level where he's taking the next step. Got over 200 more receiving yards with only 9 more receptions. So he was much more efficient with the balls that he did get. So explain this for me, sir.
Easy. 2 reasons. 1, the guy who's throwing it to him. 2, the number of targets he ends up getting. So he had his first full year with Rain Dakota Prescott, and he ended up having 1,100 yards. Okay. He would have been well over that his rookie year had Rain not got hurt. Now, the number of looks he'll get this year, he should get the majority of the looks. I was looking at Justin Jefferson's stats, and it just blew me away, the number of targets Justin Jefferson gets. Justin Jefferson gets an amazing amount of targets. I want to say he gets let me make sure I got it right. I think he went his first year,
Had
he had
125 targets.
125 targets.
Mm-hmm.
His second year, he went to 160.
Yes,
Correct?
167.
167. Whereas CD has got his first year, I think he had
111.
111, and then his next year he went to 125,
120.
120. So I think if he gets 15 to 20 more targets, or maybe 30 more targets this year, he gets into that 1,400 yard range if he gets more targets. And so with Rain having a full year away from the injury and going from sitting the pocket Dak back to aggressive, running being a dual threat option, Dak, which opens up the field more for CD and him getting better looks, I think that'll be a step up. I believe without question that CD Lamb is a 1,300 to 1,400 yard receiver in this league. That's what I think that's where his ceiling is.
Okay.
That's what I think it is. So I think he's going to make the progression up. I think he's going to make the progression up because of his new running mates beside him for the first let's say first 5 games of the season. Maybe he's going to have a James Washington, right?
Yeah.
So James Washington, the best year, I think it was his second year with Pittsburgh, and I think he had 72 receptions.
Let's see, I'm confirming that now, but keep going.
He had 72 receptions, and I think we got his 72 receptions. Correction. He had 44 receptions his second year where he had 735 yards. Yes. And then he had the next year he had 30 receptions, but that's when he started dealing with the dude who was Gilbert, a guy swinging his helmet at defensive ends and duck somebody throwing him the football, and Ben Roethlisberger on his last leg.
Yes.
So I think James Washington gets a tick up, or getting back to elite quarterback play with Rain Dakota Prescott, and he ends up being better. You see what I'm saying? So if he gets you 46, so if he goes from 46 receptions to let's say 65% receptions, that's 20 more receptions, right? And then you got Jalen Tolbert coming in as a rookie, and his bar should be what? 45 to 46 receptions as a rookie.
It seems that way.
Huh?
It seems that way.
Right.
If they are trending to move above that area where they weren't previously allowing rookie receivers to move past that Bob Hayes
right. I mean,
threshold.
Dez came into the league. Yeah, Dez came into the league as a first round draft pick. He didn't break that record. Now he did end up breaking his ankle early in the season, so he probably would have shattered that record as well. So let's say if Tolbert comes in and gives you 60 receptions, that's a productive season.
Yeah.
So him at 60 receptions, CD goes to maybe from 88 to 100 to 115 receptions, and Washington goes from 36 to 60 receptions. You don't have this huge falling off a cliff of the receiving core. And CD continues to make that tick up to where we believe he can be. I don't think he's touched the ceiling. I don't think he's just 1,100 yard reception, 1,100 yard receiver. I believe he is a 1,400 yard receiver. I think he gets to unleash Yak Lamb, down the field Lamb, beat him off the ball Lamb this year. And I think his progression from year 2 to year 3 will make a major uptick for this offense.
All right. I 100% agree. Now, here's kind of what I see. Now that we've had, a little bit of time to move on from Amari Cooper being shipped off and things like that, I can kind of understand a little bit more now the demeanor of the player that the team wants around. Amari Cooper was a very Clark Kent, mild-mannered type of guy. Jalen Tolbert, if you fling him out of bounds, he'll fling you back. He'll fling you back in bounds.
Yes,
so
sir.
that you can get ready for the next play. You don't think twice about it. So
absolutely.
those are the type of players that they're looking to have on the field as their 11 guys. So when it comes to having CeeDee Lamb's increased production, I do think that especially for those first 4 or 5 games, that first month of the season where you are going to be potentially without Michael Gallup, I think that having Jalen Tolbert be an outside guy allows you to move CeeDee Lamb either inside or outside. He can be freely be used everywhere. And I did see, that the team seems to be trying to sell that Dak to Lamb connection, like on Twitter and things like that. So he may be a guy that gets to see an increase in targets. Now he will also see an increase in attention from a team's number one defensive back. So you kind of got to temper expectations there. Now with that, I think that he's definitely good enough to beat the DBs that are in our division. He's proven that multiple times over. But we just have to be able to see how he handles that increased workload.
I think he and I'm feeling you. He is going to get more attention, but I think the ability for him to have Amari there and for his first 2 years be able to work into the slot and work outside makes him a matchup nightmare. Because either I'm going to get your number one or I'm going to get one of these civilians in the slot.
Yeah.
I think Tolbert's going to be good enough to be, if you put him on the outside, he's not going. He won't be elite, but he'll be enough that a number one is not going to just lock him up and throw him away. I think he's going to have a battle with him. The guy who we're overlooking, and I truly believe that, is James Washington. I think James Washington on this 1-year deal is out to just make a name for himself.
Absolutely. I think that's what a lot of people come to Dallas for.
Yeah, you come to Dallas to get your bread. You come to Dallas, show out, get your money, and you can go elsewhere. Because the plans, the way they sit, he's auditioning this year. Yeah. He's going to get 5 to 6 games to just be the number one guy audition out there. And then he's going to be able to work into the rotation to be that third or fourth guy later on in the season when Gallup gets back and he's able to play. So I don't think there's that big of a fall off with the offense. I think it's really a year where CeeDee Lamb goes and puts himself in the name of the upper echelon receivers with the Coops, with the Cooper Kupps, with the Justin Jeffersons, with the Amari Coopers. I'm not worried about D Hopkins because he's going to be out for 6 weeks. Yeah. Just with the upper echelon wide receivers, I think CeeDee Lamb gets to be in the same voice in conversation with Devontae Adams and this year, with him being the number one guy in Dallas. Those are the guys on this offense, year 2 to year 3 guys who need to make who I believe are my highlighted guys to make that next step to helping this football team progress in the direction we want them to go.
Absolutely. I 100% agree, man. I 100% agree. And I think that that these guys finally getting an unrestricted offseason will definitely help. We'll see how the league handles, all of the COVID things. If they handle it at all, if they restrict the players at all, if any players get it. But yeah, man, I think that them having an unrestricted offseason will work wonders for players' progression.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So that's how I look at our year 2 to 3 guys on offense. Next time we get together, we're going to talk about our year 2 to 3 guys, year 2 to 3 guys on defense. So I want you to make sure you do a couple different things. Got a boatload of them. So what I want you to do, man, if you spent this time with us, hit the like button, man. We need to get in the algorithm. If you got some partners that know a little football, man, share it with them. See if we got a little bit got some knowledge and got some things in common, or if they don't even agree with anything we say, so they can get in the comments and talk trash about us. We appreciate that too, man. But more importantly, man, we just like to thank you for coming spend some time with me and Brandon, man. We do this as a love. We do this because, it's not about the money. It's not about the accolades, man. It's just because we love football and we love talking about our Dallas Cowboys, man. So, man, as always, man, I am the sidekick to the Superman. That's my man BH. And I'm your man, Set It Off Chris. And we together are Frankly Football, man. Until next time.
Peace.